Welcome back to Subject to Change. I'm Stephen Lentz, and today I get to talk with Jazz Takhar, the owner of REC Canada and FTGU Media. How you doing, Jazz?
I'm awesome, buddy. Thank you for having me, first and foremost. And secondly, just a big congratulations to you. I always like to say that anyone who's putting out content and definitely doing it in a consistent basis, I mean, it's a big congratulations and kudos to you because it's tough. As a fellow content creator, I know like just getting guests, booking guests, and then having to deal with the fact that people change stuff, and then just putting yourself out there. It's tough, man. And, and you got to handle and take a lot of criticism. And I know like most like family and friends are generally very, very positive. But once you get onto that www, right, like that World Wide Web, you don't know what the heck and who the heck you're about to attract. But for you to put yourself out there, just a massive congratulations.
Oh, thanks, man. Have you seen WreckIt Ralph, the second one?
No, I haven't. What's that all about?
So Ralph breaks the internet, right? He and Vanellope have a new adventure, and spoiler alert, it's been out for years, so I don't feel bad about talking about it, but
okay.
They break part of her game and they have to find a new piece for it, right? And so they go to the World Wide Web because Whitlax gets the hookup, and he ends up doing like this YouTube thing and like making like goat videos and stuff to raise money to buy the new replacement part off of eBay.
Yeah.
And at one point he goes in and there's this like wall of comments, right? And he's like, oh, people love me. And he goes in there and he says like, Ralph is dumb, Ralph is awful, like who's this ugly guy? And he's just like crushed. And Yas comes in and she's like, hey, like don't read the comments, like
that's it,
like that's the thing. And it's like, you're right, like I feel like getting the guests isn't the hard part, right? Like I love talking with people. I think what's hard is the consistency of it, and I think that's hard in any business, right? Is that 100%. Consistency of action.
Anything really that you do in life, right? In my opinion, look, I've been trying to lose some weight for a while, and
you look great.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks. And I mean, I wish I can carry you around in my pocket. You're good for that. But like, one of the main reasons that I probably haven't been able to keep it off is because I'm not as consistent, right? And then on the flip side, I have some amazing results in both of my businesses, and that's probably due to the fact that I am very consistent, right? To your point, really quickly about like just comments and stuff like that. Look, if you're somebody who gets affected by it, and that's okay, like I get it, right? Like make the shield the fact that you shouldn't go in there and read comments. Yeah. For myself personally, I actually, that's what I feed off of. And I mean that from the perspective of, that's what gets me more content. I go in, I get actually majority of my content from looking at the comments that I get on the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, and the TikToks of the world. But I also, when I'm in when I'm having just a hard time coming up with topics and stuff, I'll go into your podcast and see what your the comments that you're getting are Yas's or Laura's or Tyler's, because then I also know the questions that people are asking. Some of them I have like no care to answer, but some of them I'm like, oh, wow, okay, great. If one person's asking that question, that's usually reflective of like another 10,000 people that are thinking the question, but they're either scared or they just haven't gotten around to it. And so I actually get a lot of my topics just from my comment feed as well as others as well. And so, but with that said, I mean, if you're someone who's gonna lose sleep at night because Sally Pants 3752 told you that you're ugly, don't go there. Just forget about it. Post and then don't go back, right? I mean, I like to kind of try to flip the script. I feel like if Yas leaves me a negative comment, there's probably something going on in his life that maybe I can take for lack of a better word, I can take a stab at it in terms of maybe just switching his mindset a little bit.
I love that. I mean, it's very Gary V, right? Like, 100%. I don't know if you listen to
Well, look, man, yeah, man. I mean, you mentioned that name. I've been fortunate enough to watch his content for a very long time, and then I got to meet him and have him on my podcast probably about 3 years ago or something. The real cool thing that happened when I went to New York with my team there is that he let me stay with his team for 8-9 hours, hang around at his office, and I get that a lot. Like if you look back to my comments, I get a lot of like, oh my God, this guy's the Canadian Gary Vee and all that stuff. And I like all that. I also believe I'm me. I'm Jazz Takhar, and there's a lot that I bring to the table. But there's a big part of me that I probably wouldn't be sitting here with you if it wasn't for him, because he acted as a shield for me. And what I mean by that is that he allowed me to go out, produce content, speak to the world, and not care, and really get to a place where I don't care what other people think of me, because you're going to look at me and, I got sweaty hands. I came out of my mommy like that. It's never changed. Later on in my early, I don't know, call it teens, I developed a lazy eye that appears from nowhere at times. I have a little stutter at times. I can't spell 75% of the words that I say, right? And so if you're not going to like any of the stuff that I just said, on top of the fact that I help and educate real estate investors, all done in a sweater and a t-shirt, if you're not going to like that, that's okay, man. There's 6.6 million people in the city of Toronto, a little close to 8 billion people in the world. I'll get mine, and the right people will be attracted to me, and the wrong people will be repelled from me, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. But he was definitely a big part of me. So big shout out to Gary Vee for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a beautiful story too, right? Like I feel like that in a sense is kind of all of our story. And that's one thing that I like about this podcast thing, Gary Vee and you, is that you bring the human element to it, right? It's no one is perfect, and the shiny Pinterest, Instagram photo of like, ooh, me and Maui in my little like hot dog leg picture, like it's not real life. And being,
I mean, yeah, 100%, Stephen, not to cut you off, brother. But when you're in business, especially with client interaction stuff, if you have that perfect Vogue feed on Instagram or Pinterest or YouTube or whatever it is, okay, but then when the person meets with you and that's not what they see, then they're gonna know you tried to put something over on them, right? Rather than, I think what has worked really well, and this is coming from somebody who has some data now, right? Like 4 years, 3 years specifically of like hard content, 10 to 15 pieces a day on all the platforms, 27 years of sales and service experience, that by me putting out like the raw Jazz version, I have editors, but I think they have the easiest job. And the reason is because I don't ask them to edit a lot.
Sure.
Like they'll take a 42-minute clip and give me 10 1-minute clips, but they're not taking out my ums and my ahs and my stutter, because I've asked them not to, because I want prospects, customers, clients, that when they walk into my office, they've already seen all that stuff. So they've subconsciously and or consciously made the decision that, okay, there's something about the good-looking Indian guy that waves his hands that we actually want to go learn more. And the people that don't come into the office, that's okay, man. Like I said earlier, there's the principles of plenty theory that I live by, that as long as I'm speaking consistently to enough people, the right people will be attracted to me and the wrong ones will be repelled. But that's only going to happen, the fact that you're going to attract the right people, repel the wrong people, if you actually put the most rawest version of yourself. And I think customers and clients, and this is, the feedback that I've gotten from my personal client list that I've been cultivating for 17 years in real estate, a little over 11,152 people. And I know that number because I get it.
Counting, right?
I get that thing every morning. That's everything. That's the core of my business. That's how I've lasted in sales and service for such a long time.
I love it.
I just spend most of my time, effort, resources on the people that already know, like me, and trust me, rather than trying to always get new people. And don't get me wrong, I'm always wanting to add fresh water to the pool, meaning more new people. But the feedback that they've given me is, look, you know what we really like about you, Jazz, that you kind of wear your heart on your sleeve. We just don't feel like you're bullshitting us. In fact, we know you're not bullshitting us because sometimes you use words in the wrong context. And sometimes you don't even know how to pronounce the word that you're saying, but we like that about you because we know you're real. You're not, and not that there's anything wrong with anybody with a suit and tie in the real estate business. I think people look great, and women look like phenomenal dressed up and all that kind of stuff. I just decided that I'm most comfortable in a t-shirt and a sweater and speaking the way that I speak, and letting the chips fall where they may.
You're absolutely right. Like, there's been a huge disconnect in the last 7 years of like the authenticity and perception. And I think Gary Vee really broke that open, right? That just like, I'm going to swear because that's how I talk. And if you like it, you like it, and you don't, you don't. And he just shows like, hey, I'm out flipping stuff at yard sales, right? Like, I'm going to get this mug. Like we live in the guru sphere now of influencers, and it's really hard to see like who's telling the truth and who's not, and having someone who speaks authentically, and like you said, like no editing. I'm going to leave the ahs and ums in, and this is like who I am. And I say like more than I'd like to right now. I'm working on that, but I'm not going to edit that out, right? Like, it's
Look, I went for a quick beer over lunch with my newest staff member, and him and I are having a conversation. He's been with me for almost coming up to 3 months. And we just haven't, like, we're in a very heavy condo launch opportunity mode for the last couple of months. And so I just haven't had the time to like actually sit down and have a beer with him. And so sat down with him today, and we must have said, like, all these things that we say stutter like I just did right now 1,000 times. If I left that bar and said to him, Ali, let me start this conversation over again, and as I walk back, he might think I'm on crack. Like, what the heck are you doing? Like, you're just having a regular conversation. But something happens to so many people that once the lens and the camera come on, people feel like they need to be on CNBC and CNN and Fox News, that they have to be so polished, right? Where if you're in business, if you're thinking about being a YouTube star and an Instagram influencer, I'm not really even speaking to you. I'm speaking to the people that just need to really get the understanding that they need to create content for awareness. And they need to do that on the 7 or 8 platforms that are on our phones, right? And the best way to do that, not the only way, but the best way to do that, in my opinion, is through video, because it's the fastest way for somebody to connect with you. But you got to leave all that rawness in there. When you and I keep on saying the word rawness or authenticity, it's the ums, it's the ahs, it's the like whatever you say, that's okay, man. Like, yeah, you can try to get a little bit better on what you're perceived, and I mean perceived because they're your own perceptions of what your own weaknesses are. I would implore you to go all in on your strengths, and I've done a little over 148 podcast features that I've been on in the last 18 months. And I can tell you, brother, you got it. Like, you know what I mean? The way that you brought me on, the patience that you had, the smile that you put on, the questions that you're asking, that is a strength of yours. Just go all in on that so you can start to hit some home runs and grand slams. I think too many people try to work on their weaknesses where they're just going to hit some singles and doubles and make incremental changes in their life. The massive home runs and grand slams in business and in life happen by going all in on the strengths. Like, if you're really good with the videos and the podcasting and meeting with clients, focus on that, delegate the rest.
That's beautiful. And thank you for that compliment. I appreciate that too. And you're right. Like, I think especially what you're talking about, we say raw and authentic, and I wanted to throw in one more phrase, that is the human element. Right? Like, I feel like taking all this stuff out makes it really sterile and robotic, right? It's mechanized, and we have evolved as consumers and people. It's not like Henry Ford came out with the Model T and like, hey, here's a car, you should buy it. And I was like, ooh, a car. Of course I'm going, that's all I have, right? And it went to like mass marketing of, you have Coke, and now you have Pepsi, and it's whose name comes up more in the jingle. And we've moved from this like barrage of jingly marketing to who has values and who's real. And I appreciate that I'm able to see that when I talk with you. Like, you are a real dude who has real values and cares about his people. Like, that's important to me. And like, that's why you're super successful, is you have that consistency and continuity with how you act and what you believe in. and how you treat people. And I think that's super important.
Yeah, look, and maybe there's somebody, you know, who's watching or listening right now, Stephen, who's saying like, you know, that's not the people that I want to attract, and that's not the business I want to grow. And like, mazel tov to you, man. Don't do it. Like, you know, I just, for me, I, you know, I think that I've been very fortunate to see my businesses grow. I mean, I should definitely say one of my businesses, which is my real estate company, because that's been around for 17 years. My media company is at its infancy stage of about 9-10 months right now. And so
Super cool.
I think it would be too early for me to say that it's any type of real success, but I love the fact that the people that are around me in both organizations are ones that I'm watching grow right now. You know, that brings me more happiness than a bunch of like commission checks and or service checks for my media company, because I'm starting to see them become leaders. You know, my main videographer slash cinematographer is 22 years old, came into my world a year ago, and I just can't wait to see him when he's 28. He might be with me and he might not be with me.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, but I know that I had like a 0.1% effect on his life. And I like to think that it's been a positive effect in his life. You know, I know that because he's told me, but I can also see the change in him. He's starting to attract now more things in his life because he's around not only me, like I come with a lot of energy, I come with a lot of passion. And so I know I'm going to rub off on a lot of people, but I'm watching like the cross-pollination happen through other leaders in my organization, right? So he's hanging around Tyler, who's been in my organization for 8 years now, leads one of the most important parts of my real estate company. My VP, Laura, been with me coming up to 7 years, 8 years herself, is a VP in the organization now. She rubs off on him. Tyler rubs off on him, right? And so to watch that happen is just more, it excites me more than a paycheck, because that money gets spent at some point. I invested into real estate. I buy a sweater, whatever, you know, I buy it on food. I buy it on a couple of drinks, whatever it is. But the emotional bank account of mine is a lot more fuller when I start to see the leaders in my organization lead and develop other leaders.
Yeah, no, and I think what you said is really powerful in the aspect of giving back, right? Like there comes a point in time where what's important to you is making your needs met, right? Like saying like, hey, giving back is super important. Well, that doesn't matter to the guy who's living paycheck to paycheck and is trying to buy diapers for his baby, right? Like he doesn't care about giving back. He cares about providing for his family. And there gets to be a point in time where you are able to achieve stability, if you will, right? And then there comes a part where you're able to achieve excess of being like, cool, like I have some freedom. And then at some point you get to this part of being like, what is next?
Yeah.
Right? Like money can only get you so far. And it's beautiful that you're recognizing like me invest in this person, watch them grow, like that giving back. Like, and you didn't say it, but I'm going to assume like one of the words you're using is fulfilled, right? Like that fulfills you.
Oh, 100, like, look, I mean, as you were talking, what came to my mind right away was having the abundance mentality, right? And I started to think about, because I've been there too, living paycheck to paycheck, making sure that I had enough money for diapers, as I have two little boys, an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
That's
But
awesome.
even then, man, like even back then, Stephen, I always had the abundance mentality. I knew there was enough. I just didn't get mine yet. You know, and I implore people to finish a lot of, like, to finish majority, if not all, their sentences of something that they don't have with the word yet. I haven't grown a massive organization yet. I haven't obtained or attained, I'm not sure which word in the context is right, $1 million yet. I haven't grown a staff of 100 people yet. Because see what that does, it puts that into your subconscious, And then what your subconscious does is start to put out vibrations to the universe. One sec.
No worries.
Oh, one sec. I don't know what happened there.
That's all right.
You know, I think my team's phone is connected. Just so, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Well, hey, we might have to do a little bit of editing here. It's okay. I see him. You know, I wasn't like, when you say yet, it goes into your subconscious, and then the universe, you're on a certain vibration, right? And then you start to attract more of what you think of, right? And so what most people do, going back to the gentleman or the lady who's thinking about the diapers, is that if you look at it, 95, if not 99.9% of the time, that man, that woman figures out a way to get the diapers. Okay? Excuse me. And the reason that they've been able to do that is because the brain will always find a solution for whatever problem you give it. Way before Google, way before the computer, we have a part of the brain on the front part of the brain. It's called the reticular activator system, or RAS. And the RAS's job is to bring to your conscious what you are looking for. Hence why pregnant women see pregnant women all the time. Pregnant women were there before, but you were never looking for them. It's when you pick up a black new Honda Accord, you see that Honda Accord everywhere. Honda Accords were there before. Your brain just wasn't looking for them. What you were looking for as the man or the woman to pay off the diapers is you're looking for, I need to make enough money to pay for the diapers. Your brain says, no problem. I'm going to get that done for you. See, it doesn't take any more energy to start to think, you know what? I'm going to turn my annual income into my monthly income. So last year, if someone made $50,000 a year, if you tell your brain a $50,000 a month problem, I guarantee you, if you consistently think about finding the solution on how to make $50,000 a month, you will do it. The only thing is 95% of the people will give up. I'm telling you this because not only I have done it in my own life and I continuously do it, I have watched hundreds of people around me personally be able to execute on that, and thousands upon thousands do the same thing. You listen to the Steve Jobs, the Gary V's, the Bill Gates, all of them. They were so obsessed, the Kobe Bryants, the LeBron James, they could not think of anything else that they wanted to accomplish more than whatever they actually ended up doing. And that's why they brought that into their life. Yeah. And so I'm hoping what I'm articulating to people is give your brain a big problem to solve. Because at the end of the day, it's going to end up solving whatever you're looking for anyways. Unfortunately, it's just that most people are trying to just pay bills. And if you think about it, anybody you know, right? Like they're always trying to live paycheck to paycheck. They always pay the bills. And it's because all they're trying to do is pay their credit card bill, their rent and the electricity, all important stuff. But wow, all they had to do is just say, you know what? I'm going to turn my annual income into my monthly income. I guarantee you, you put in the work, and you have the patience. That's the second part of the equation. You know, if you want to attract a cup of coffee into your life, you can probably do that in a day or two. You know, have you ever driven to a mall and said, I am going to find the closest parking spot? But I mean, if you start your drive from your house to all the way to the mall, 90% of the time you get a parking spot that opens up in and around the front of the entrance. Now, that will happen all in a day or two. You give your brain a big problem to solve, like turning your annual income into your monthly income. Have some patience. It might take a year. Damn, it might take 2 years or 3 years for you to do that. But what a problem that you actually ended up solving now.
Oh, that's awesome. It's hard sometimes when you talk like this to people and they don't have any problem that they've solved, right? Like, but you're absolutely right. Because when you probably see my hat, it's got the firefighter logo on it, right? The IFF. I was a firefighter for over 10 years, and that's how it was for me. Like, I literally slept on a sidewalk for an application. I didn't get that job at that department, but like I was taking every, like my brain was like, hey, like this one's open, like you have to do this. I put myself through EMT to get like massive consistent action to take it. And you're right, like your brain finds a way. It's
And that's the Raz, man. I mean, people just don't, people think it's like foofy faffy, like philosophical, like, you know, philosophical stuff, and it's all fluffy. But at the end of the day, there's been so many people that have used that thought process to obtain what they wanted in their lives. And look, success will always leave clues, right? I mean, somebody's already done it. I mean, other than people like a Henry Ford, for example, but you wouldn't, not that Elon Musk, you know, designed something that's identical to what Henry Ford did and all the other car manufacturers after Ford, but they did copy something of his, right? They didn't really completely reinvent the wheel. You know, car is a car, even if it's a Tesla or a Ford, right? And so once you start to realize that, okay, somebody's already done what I want to do. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Like, there's some fucked up things in this world that people have had happen to them, but chances are there's at least one, if not 1 million other people that have had that happen to them. And if someone else got through it, if one other human being got through that struggle, that shows you that you can, not that you will, but that you can, because that human has breathes the same air as us and puts their pants on one leg at a time as well. Now you just need to figure out what they did and start working backwards.
I love that. And, you know, for myself personally, I'm trying to transcend that. I actually suspend my jeans up and every morning I take a running jump. I haven't mastered it yet, but I'm working on the 2 legs at one time. So.
I like that. I like that. I'm too lazy to try that stuff, Steven. I'm way too lazy.
Well, I'm not going to tell you how many times I've caught myself in the crotch. It's just, you know, sometimes the pain's not worth it, but
yeah.
That's what I'm working on.
I like that. That's awesome.
But before we go, I did have one question that I think is interesting. I mean, just for myself personally, that you mentioned you have 2 businesses, and how do you find consistency growing both at the same time?
Look, man, for me anyways, I'm very, very blessed. I got 2 amazing business partners. First and foremost, in my real estate company, I got a guy who really was a friend at the start, and then we decided to take the real estate business, to the next level. Very rare do you find somebody who has a work ethic that is parallel to you. You know, and we'll always joke around, like there's just no way that he works hard as me, and then he'll say the same thing about himself, right? And so he does a lot for me. And then my business partner in my media company, who came into my life through my real estate company, same thing, smart girl, very hard worker, and wants to push herself and push me as well. And so it really starts with them too. I'm very blessed to have them as business partners, but also just in my life, right? I look at them as dear friends of mine. And so it starts there. I think if I look at myself in the mirror, it would be because I'm just driven. I'm very driven. I think I can do, I think I can even do more than I'm doing right now. And that's scary because I've been able to do a lot. I'm 40 years old. I probably, if I really wanted to, I can take off 6 months and not work and have enough residual income. Hello, sweetie. Hi. I can
Right
take,
there, yeah.
that's awesome. I can take off 6 months of work if I wanted to, and there's still money coming in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that probably is because of all the work that has gotten put in. But I've never publicly ever said that, because I probably have only thought about it twice in the last 2 years that I'm actually even at that level. And I say this to you because, you know, for me, I just want to try more, you know? And so in the next, I'm going to say 30 to 60 days, we're coming out with our own OTT channel, an app on the App Store as well as Google Play, trying something different. This media company, after having a client service company in real estate would probably be the stupidest thing to do, which is start another client service company. But I want to push myself. I want to know, can I do for others what I did for myself? Right. I say I'm speaking for my business partner because I know she has the same she's cut from the same cloth in that sense. And so that's a challenge, right? And so I screw up and I make mistakes, probably 10 to 12 mistakes a day, easily. I don't judge myself because I just know I'm trying. I know I'm in the progress. I know I'm going to be doing this. God willingly keeps the health going. I think I can go with this energy for another 45 years, takes me to 85, like with this same energy, like same passion, because it's not fake. I've been like this since I've been a child. Like it's like I came out of mommy just like this, with the same energy, the same passion, the same love for people, the same wanting to become someone, right? And so that's, I don't believe is ever going to go away. But I want to see how far I can take this God-given talent that I've been given, which is really the ability to influence people ethically, right? Like I sleep very well at night, because my family's healthy, but also I know I've never ripped anyone off. Never. Sales, 27 years, newspapers, shoes, banking, cars, and real estate, never ripped anyone off, ever. And that all goes to my parents, all of it. My father and my mother had hardly any money, like $55,000, $60,000 household income their whole lives, 3 brothers, 3 sons. And we didn't have everything, but we didn't have like nothing either. You know what I mean? And the one thing that they just instilled in me, not even really said it, I just saw it. You don't rip people off. You just don't do that. And I never have. And so for me, now I want to see how far can I take this God-given talent. I really, truly think I have a talent like Kobe did in basketball, Sidney Crosby has in hockey, Tom Brady had in football, Ronaldo and Messi have in soccer. God gave me something, and I'm just going to see how far I can take this. And so because of that, when challenges come up in either one of the businesses, it's like, oh, it's just a challenge. I got to try to see if I can, fix it and do better. And sometimes I'm going to win. Sometimes I'm going to lose. Let's see how far we can take this.
That's awesome. Well, Chaz, that's it for our time today, but thank you so much for being on. I loved having you. It was phenomenal.
100%, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. And as I said at the start, just big shout out to you. Congratulations to you, because I don't know if this is your first episode or your 1,000th episode. It doesn't really matter. To put yourself out to the world is tough, and you've done it.
No, thanks, man. I think this is 20 or 21, so we're getting there.
That's you're almost about to get Michael Jordan to 23. That's always a good number to get to. And on to 2,300 for you.
Awesome. Thanks. And right back at you for success. And thank you all for listening to Subject to Change.